Welcome to Tech Talk IT, powered by Software Mind.
Hello everyone, my name is Antônio Britto. I'm from Brazil. I'm currently working as a full stack engineer and for over 7 years. And today I'm mainly focused on working with AWS integrations and front-end activities as well. So today I'm going to talk about AI, and not as a trendy or a buzzword, but more as a daily toolkit that can enhance our activities, not only as a software engineer, but also as a QA developer or any others activities that we can do in our routines. So AI can generally help us to be more professional, more productive, and do not replace, in fact, the work that we are going to do, but actually to work as an assistant for us. And for all the concepts that I'm going to talk about, I'm going to try to attach a couple images just as a reference. Quick and short, when we talk about AI impacts in our software developers' routines, it falls into 3 different categories especially. So speed, of course, especially because AI will try to improve and actually reduce the time that we're going to spend in some manual activities. So for example, let's say that creating a documentation or creating a couple unit tests, which are activities that will take a bunch of time from us, AI will, of course, reduce it. Quality, of course, especially because it means that the code that is going to be created will have less bugs and will be more consistent as well. And it will cover, of course, a couple edge cases and checklists that we will not remember when we are developing the feature. And last but not least, clarity, of course, especially because by understanding large systems. So onboarding faster, trying to figure out what a service actually does and what a specific role is applied in our system. So a quick example that I like is that before I might spend 40 minutes to understand the specific rule that we have in our system. So what are the users that can have access to something, or why we have a specific service and a specific third party in our system. And now I can easily go ahead and ask AI that. And instead of wasting 40 minutes or 45 minutes doing that by ourselves, it would take literally 5 minutes or 10 minutes. Sometimes people think that AI will replace our thinking. And actually, that's not the idea here. The main idea here is to talk about AI as a work assistant and not as I said, something that will replace our thinking. So something that will work alongside us, that will help us to move faster and to be more productive, of course. One of the tools that software developers really embraced is called Cursor. And it's really good, especially because Cursor can bring AI into our environment that we currently work in. Using Cursor as an example, we can decide how AI should work by decide in 3 different modes that Cursor has. So let's focus on Cursor as an example. Cursor allows us to decide in 3 different modes of action. The first one would be the plan mode. The plan mode means that we can break really big features and ideas that we are going to implement in smaller MD files, for example, or smaller pieces of code that we are going to implement later. The second one would be the agent mode, which will actually apply the code that we are planning to implement. So it will change something that is not working or fix a bug that we would like to fix and stuff like that. And finally, the ask mode, which will work as a traditional AI assistant, which we are going to be able to ask a couple questions to them, like we would like to ask some explanations, reviews, or even questions that we'd like to get an answer. Another useful feature that we have in Cursor is called project rules. And it can also be called as Cursor rules or even as MDC files. So basically, Cursor works as a normal assistant. So we will have a couple chats there, And of course, let's say that we are going to ask a couple questions in the first chat and we switch to another chat. All the things that we have asked before will be completely gone in the second chat. And that's the reason why we have these project rules. It is really important when we have a specific project which is being worked for many people. So in that way, we can define a couple of standards that we would like to have in our project. So for example, let's say that we have an AWS service and we would like to have all the Lambda functions being called with a specific pattern. So in that way, we can standardize those things under the project rule and define as a rule, of course, in our project. That way, we don't need to be asking every time and remembering every time AI to consider and take into account that standard that we have over our project. Another important thing from Cursor is the MCPs. And basically, MCPs will allow us to show to the repository how the things work outside the project. So that will allow Cursor to understand, in fact, a couple of things that we have outside the project, as I said, without need to do any assumptions. We can integrate Cursor with many different providers, such as Slack, Confluence, Google Drive, GitHub, and many other ones. So let's say that we have an example as we are going to ask Cursor that something like, based on this specific Jira ticket, I would like to know which files would need to be changed in order to have this feature applied. And then we wouldn't need to show and pass in the prompt all the things that we have outlined into the Jira ticket. That way we can make and have, of course, the prompts really shorter than how it would be if we wouldn't have the MCPs. And in that way, the answer would be really grounded in the Jira ticket and in the repository that we have, making sure that Cursor wouldn't do any assumption in that case. And finally, what makes Cursor, in my perspective, really useful and somewhat unique is the possibility of choosing different AI models within the same three modes that we talked before. Some models naturally stand out. For example, GPT 5.2, which is the OpenAI one, Composer, which is the Cursor's own model. But after a couple of months working with AI and working in different projects for different purposes, that's my opinion based on the technologies that we have access so far. Claude Opus 4.5 is my go-to generalist. It is really useful in my perspective, especially because it performs really well when we work on really simple questions, but at the same time it performs pretty good when we are asking a couple really complex tasks. Gemini 3 shines when we are working more on design or complex modeling problems. And finally, Grok 4 is surprisingly pretty good when we are trying to solve a couple bugs that we couldn't solve by using other models. The only limitation that I see of Grok is that it doesn't allow us to paste in images or documents there. So basically we need to explain everything by text in the prompts. The main takeaway is that there is no single best model. The real advantage comes from choosing the right model to the right question. And Cursor makes that choice really easy and part of our daily activities. So, of course, there are a couple other tools that could be compared with Cursor, such as GitHub Copilot or even Klein, but they can be useful. However, they tend to be a bit more limited in comparison to Cursor in that case. We've been talking a lot about Cursor as an editor, so let's step a bit outside the editor, especially because there are many other tools that can enhance our day-to-day activities as developers, and those are not 100% related to the editor. AI is being strongly applied in code reviews, GitHub code reviews, especially because it's really long and heavy for a developer to code review a PR, for example, which has 10 files changed. So some tools like Cursor Bugbot or CodeRabbit or any other code review assistant can help us in order to make that review shorter and even better. Still talking about code reviews, but now more focused on the front-end side, there is a really important tool called Meticulous. And basically this tool will take screenshots of the version that we had before the PR and the version that we are going to have after the code merged. And we are going to compare those changes. And basically that's really important because it can allow us checking the code and the visual changes that we are going to have without going to all the screens that we have in our application. And it is also good because we can capture some bugs that wouldn't be able to be captured by ourselves if we didn't have that tool. And of course, AI is not only related to code. There are a couple other tools that are not code related that can be used by us as developers, as QA developers, or even as software engineers. There is a really good tool that I would like to mention called Whisperflow. And basically, Whisperflow help with long form writing, turning speech into text. And it is really good, especially because when we would like to send long messages, it can save a lot of time from us. And it is pretty useful as well when we are trying to write documentations or explain and outline Jira tickets. In conclusion, all of those tools that I've been mentioning here, they have the same goal. They would like to reduce the friction day-to-day work that we have in our day-to-day activities and let us focus more on the logic part of the system and on the thinking instead of focus too much in the mechanical tasks that we would need to do if we wouldn't have the AI to assist us. Okay, so before we wrap up, it's important to be really realistic about AI. AI can hallucinate, so checking all the answers and all the responses that we got is something mandatory. We need to make sure that AI doesn't understand anything about the business context unless we provide that for them. So anything related to the logic that happens in our system will be comprehended by AI if we do not provide that for them. So we need to make sure that the more context that we give to them, the better will be the response, the better will be the answers. And AI can speed up the mistakes at the same way that it can speed up the work that we would like to do with AI. And security and privacy also matters. So we need to be really careful about it. So we need to make sure that not all the information that we'd like to provide to AI can go to those AI tools. So in order to wrap up all the ideas and things that we've been talking about here, the goal is pretty simple. We need to use AI to reduce the mechanical work that we have, not to outsource our decisions. The engineer, the QA, the Scrum Master, the software developer is still responsible for it. And that's the end. Thank you for staying here until the end. I truly hope that this presentation helped you gain more and better information about AI, and also to show some important AI tools that we can use in order to enhance our time and make sure that we are going to be more productive in our day-to-day activities. Thank you so much.
Learn from our experts how to feel it, live it, be it. And make sure to follow us on social media at Life at Software Mind.